Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind Podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Friday. It's June 9th. It's 2023. We have 13 baseball games to talk about here on today's podcast. Joined today by my good buddy, Mr. Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, it's Friday. What's happening, my friend?
Listen, it's a good day. We were talking pre-show, man. I'm already getting pumped up for tomorrow's earnings. I am excited, Stevie. I am ready to go. I mean, I'm feeling real good, man. I was able to find a few things before we kick this show off, and so I think tonight is the night. It's going to be a good one.
Heck yeah, man. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Thursday night on YouTube chat. What's up, everyone? See you guys all popping in saying good afternoon and or evening. I'm already messing up my words. It's gonna be one of those nights, but yeah. Well, what's up, everyone? Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday night. If you're not listening on YouTube, appreciate you hanging out. Joe Adele just hit a home run. That was really good. Love to see that.
Oh, great. I need Joe Adele to keep hitting home runs. I need Smiley to not get strikeouts tonight. So
there you go.
If the Angels could just hammer Smiley for me, that'd be great. You can get 4, just don't get 5.
Heck yeah. Adele is someone that I talked about a lot on the podcast yesterday, how well he's been hitting in AAA. So it was really cool to see him get a home run here. But, I mean, if you didn't stack the Mets and Braves and Guardians, man.
I mean, like 8. So listen, interesting stat line, Steve. I know we got a long slate, but the most interesting stat line I think I saw today was at one point, Spencer Strider had 5 earned runs and 5 strikeouts. And then an inning or two later, he had 8 earned runs and 8 strikeouts. I was like, man, what is happening? It was incredible.
Yeah, if you got on that game theory train on a small slate and stacked against Strider, congratulations.
Yeah.
Jose Ramirez. Hey, Jose Ramirez decided he wanted to play baseball finally this season.
He wanted to be good today.
He wanted to be Jose Ramirez. So that was cool to see. But let's jump into this next slate. We got 13 games. We got a lot to get through today. So before we do, really quick, just want to give a shout out to our dev team here at Better Collective. For anybody that knows, RotoGrinders is a part of a bigger company. And we work together with Fantasy Labs. So we're all under the same umbrella. The new Plate IQ is fantastic. It's just on another level now. Like, it was already one of, if not the best tool out there, but now it's like on another level. So if you use Plate IQ and you haven't checked it out yet, today it dropped this afternoon. If you haven't checked it out, do it. It's fantastic. It's so good. And I know it's free right now, so you don't even have to be a premium member to get. I'm going to call it the best baseball tool in fantasy and betting. So love what they're doing with Plate IQ. Just fantastic tool. So just want to give them a shout out. They took a lot of feedback for the tool, and I think that it looks great. It's very functional. It's very fast, and now if we could just get the next day Plate IQ, gosh, I would be.
No, Stevie.
Can we do it now?
Listen, let me check because know. Oh, they hurt me, Stevie. So what happened when I was?
It's getting close.
Yeah, I was plundering
from what I've heard
today, and I realized we could change the dates, and I said, "Oh my goodness!" Like,
yeah.
And I was live on air. So what happened? My original screen was the old Plate IQ. I'm doing a show, and it swapped over. And I'm like, guys, just bear with me. Like, tomorrow will be better. It's a new Plate IQ.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge change. Like, everyone's gonna have to spend some time going through and looking at it and hitting all the tabs. And there's bullpen stats now. I get a lot of people asking me all the time about bullpen stats. There's bullpen stats on Plate IQ now. So love what they did with Plate IQ. Love the feedback. So just really cool to see a lot of that feedback come to, because I've been one, I've had to have 5 or 6 tabs open for bullpens, and it's all over the place. And now I've been one that has been pushing to have bullpen stats on Plate IQ. So I was really happy to see that. Let's jump into this slate. We got 13 games. Kansas City at Baltimore is where we start. 8.5 total in this game. The Orioles are 178 favorites. Lynch against Wells. Any interest in our boy Daniel Lynch today?
Oh man, I feel like I should, but I don't think I want to. If that makes any sense, that's just kind of where I am. The problem is he's 6,800. Like, I mean, Stevie, can he get me 15 or more points? He probably can. The K's have been there. I think I'm going to have to consider him. Like, the price is just it's too good. I think, Stevie. I think the price is too good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the price tag for Lynch. The Baltimore lineup is a team, like a lineup just in general, that is very hit or miss against left-handed pitching. If you look at like their overall stats in the season, they're a top 10 team against left-handed pitching this season. Rutschman's very good. Hayes is very good. Mountcastle's very good. So, I mean, there's some good hitters in this lineup against left-handed pitching. It's a 13-game slate. I think I can be picky on this slate. I'll see, like, as we get going here, like, if I, like, come back to this conversation. But, I mean, I don't have a ton of interest in Lynch right now. So that's just kind of where I'm at. And then on the other side of this one, Wells at 8,300. Tyler Wells is someone that has actually been pitching fantastic here recently. Over 7 strikeouts in 5 straight games for Wells. A matchup against Kansas City, a team that, I mean, still ranks second worst in baseball this year against right-handed pitching in WRC+. I am much more likely to play a guy like Tyler Wells on the other side of this game.
Yeah, I like Wells today too. I think the cool thing I like about Wells is he's done this.
Did we lose Will? Might have lost Will. Or me. My connection died? Or Will's connection died. So looking at Wells here, why Will's... Is it? I think it might be my internet connection. I hope not. Will is freezing. All right. So I'm going to keep rolling here. Looking at Wells, he's someone that I like a lot in this spot. Obviously, like I mentioned, Kansas City, a team that has struggled against right-handed pitching this season. Tyler Wells is someone that's kind of, I mean, again, been pitching really solid here recently. His swinging strike rate is really solid against both sides of the plate. His ISO is the biggest concern. He does give up a lot of power to both sides of the plate, but I mean, he's sitting at a 26.6% strikeout rate on the season. Gets a great matchup here against Kansas City. If he could just limit the home runs, that's been his biggest problem here. So if he could keep the home runs down, he probably crushes in this spot. I think he's someone I'll definitely be looking at, like strikeout prop wise as well, on prop sites and on fantasy pick'em sites. So Wells is someone I like a lot. Will, you look like you're back. Are you good now? Robot Will is gone.
Yeah, I'm back. Wow, what a wild ride in the last 30 seconds or so. But I'll just put a bow on it and say that I do like Wells. I like the fact that he's gotten it done in the strikeout department against good teams. So it's not like he's faced Detroit, Kansas City, these hot Oakland. I like the fact that he's done against good teams.
All right, let's talk bats. Anything standing out to you here for Kansas City against Wells?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the home run woes. Like, I don't mind Bobby Witt. He's probably too expensive for the slate, but that's why I like him. I don't hate, Pasquantino as well at first at 3,500. Like, I still think those are a handful of good plays to kick off the slate.
All right. I mean, home runs is what I'd be targeting here. I don't mind the Vinny call. He's cheap. He has some power. He's been struggling recently. Kansas City as a whole has been struggling a little bit here recently. I think they have had 3 of the last 4 games. They've only scored 1 or 2 runs. They had a decent game in the first game of the series against Miami, but they've really struggled here recently. So, I mean, I can always get behind a Bobby Witt, but he's so expensive that I don't know if I end up on him. Sal Perez is a one-off catcher, is expensive. So, I mean, might just be one of those spots where I play Wells and I don't play a ton of Kansas City bats. And then on the Baltimore side, Mountcastle at 4,500, Hayes at 3,700. I could build a little mini stack around those 2 guys, but I don't think this is a spot I would fully stack.
Yeah, same here. And I'm with you on Mountcastle. In terms, I mean, I've pretty much been playing him against lefties all season. Just really low K rate, really good ISO numbers. He's been a one-off play du jour. So I really like him. I don't hate Austin Hayes. I don't hate Santander. But overall, like you said, I'm not stacking up. But I do think Mountcastle is an ultimate one-off play today.
All right, before we move on to the next game, we had a question here in chat about Plate IQ. How do we look at certain pitch percentages thrown against lefties and righty on Plate IQ now? Very simple, actually. You just go over to the pitcher side. You hit usage. It's all right there. And how it's thing. And then on the left side where the batters are, it's very simple as well. All you have to do is there's a scroll down where it says all pitch types. Forcing fastball, cutter, sinker, splitter, all that stuff is right there, and you can go righties versus lefties. You can see how they perform. Then you can hit advanced, and you can get their fly ball rate, line drive rate, barrel rate now, barrel percentages now on Plate IQ. So all that stuff is right there. So Jeffro, hopefully that helps you. Very easy once you spend 30 minutes on the new Plate IQ, and you're going to be in love. Because that's about as much time as I had to spend. Luckily, I don't have baseball content on Thursday, so when it came out today, I was able to just kind of play around with it. It was fun. All right, we got Boston at New York facing the Yankees. 8 total in this game. Yankees a 170 favorite. This is a game that we have potential weather. We'll have to see what Kevin Roth has to say with this one. Garrett Cole is assuming everything sounds like he's going to be starting here. It was like cramping, so I don't think he'll miss this start. So let's start here with Whitlock. Any interest in Garrett Whitlock against the Yankees?
No.
Yeah, I think this is a fast no as well. Yankees, their lineup is not 100% right now, but I mean they're good enough to beat Whitlock. I mean,
oh yeah.
So I think that's kind of how you look at it. Garrett Whitlock, a guy that's he's hittable, man. He gives up a ton of power to lefties. His WOBA's high to both sides of the plate. So yeah, not my favorite option here. Let's talk Garrett Cole against my Red Sox here. I think there's opportunity right now. The Red Sox are kind of struggling. What are your thoughts here on Garrett Cole against Boston?
This one has me in a conundrum, Stevie, because we've got a large slate today, and Cole ends up being the most expensive pitcher. And I'm almost certain, and I have to include this for the analysis, I'm almost certain more people will play Ohtani today at 10-4 than Cole at 11-1. And so for me, I think for that reason, I feel like I have to consider him because I think his ownership is going to be lower than maybe it should be, if that makes any sense. But his season stuff just isn't the Cole we're accustomed to, where he's sitting at 30+%, a 31, 32% K rate. He's pretty much mid to upper mid 20s, and so I do think he's too expensive. But I think I'm going to play him in tournaments because I think his ownership comes in under Ohtani. But Ohtani's definitely got the matchup. Like, he's the better play, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, ownership will be interesting through the top end options in general. Javier has a decent matchup against Cleveland. Ohtani against Seattle. Castillo in that same game against the Angels.
Yeah.
Sonny Gray has some upside. Dylan Cease is getting Miami. Perez in that same game getting the White Sox. So
yeah,
a lot of potential ways. I mean, pitching there's not short of pitching today. There's plenty of pitching options. So
you got Rich Hill against the Mets.
I mean, Rich Hill, he's an ace. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think this is a spot that you could definitely take some shots on Cole. I mean, I could see saving money and just going two of these guys up here and not playing Cole either, though. I mean, that might be the preferred build. So, like Will's saying, you might get lower ownership on Cole today. Any Red Sox bats that you have interest in here?
Red Sox.
I will note really quick, Will, that Adam Duvall, I was reading a thing, he's expected to get activated from the IL today, Friday.
Okay. I mean, I think that will help. I still think I'm going to fade the Red Sox overall. If I do, I'll just one off a Devers or, probably mostly just Devers, or Yoshida. But all in all, I'm not really playing the Red Sox today.
Yeah, I mean, power. Yankee Stadium, too. Left-handed, batters here in Yankee Stadium. Cole, a guy that from time to time will struggle with home runs. So I don't mind, potentially taking some of these lefties here. Duran, if he hits leadoff, I don't have an issue with that. Cassis has been cheap. He's batting fifth right now for the Red Sox. Him and Devers. I could get behind like a 3 or 4 man here. What I think is interesting is what they're going to do with Duvall. Or is he going to play right field or something, and they're going to stick Duran out in center and put Yoshida in left? Like, it'd be interesting because where can he really DH right now? Justin Turner's DH and Cassis and Devers have been playing every day. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with Duvall. I think he's going to have to play the outfield. Yankees bats against Whitlock. Judge on the AL. We knew that was coming. Any interest in the Yankees here?
Yeah, I still don't hate this team as a whole. I think as a whole, excuse me, I said whole with a D, but I meant whole with a WHOLE. I still think there's enough here against this, bottom of the barrel pitcher here. You got Stanton, and I know, he didn't play today. They kind of gave him a day off, but this guy still got some power. I don't hate Volpe down here at the bottom of the lineup. I don't hate Rizzo at 4,400 is probably a little bit too cheap. Gleyber Torres has actually been my favorite Yankee all season. I played him a ton. So at 5,200, I think he's in. You got Donaldson at 3,400. Like this, I think this team, no Judge, but man, they're still slightly potent at the top middle of this order.
Especially in this ballpark, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing to kind of note. And like Whitlock, he's been giving up a ton of hard contact this year. So I think Torres is a great candidate for a home run today. I think we should note too, Willie Calhoun potentially hitting leadoff in this spot with Judge out. So he's still really cheap, right?
Yeah,
he's 2,100. No, he's 2K. He's minimum salary. So minimum salary leadoff hitter in a great spot going up against Whitlock here. I think that he is a value play you're definitely considering on the slate.
Absolutely.
All right, Dodgers and Phillies facing off against each other. Another game that we have potential weather that we'll be paying attention to. 9.5 total in this game. Pick'em game. Grove against Suarez. Any interest here in Michael Grove?
No.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said it. I feel like I've said it a lot on some of these pitchers this year, but I think Michael Grove he has some development still. We're not seeing like his AAA numbers kind of come into the majors and do the same type of stuff. So I think there's some development that still needs to be had here, and he's been a guy that has struggled with home runs in AAA, AA, Major League Baseball. So I don't want to play Grove here, and I don't want to play Ranger Suarez against the Dodgers.
Yep, same here. Double no.
We got a double no. We're gonna have plenty of yeses today.
Yeah,
double no. What do you like here for the Dodgers bats? In Philadelphia.
Definitely want to stack the Dodgers. I mean, I wonder how much ownership Mookie Betts is going to get today at 6,200. Like, so this is kind of one of those reasons, Stevie, where I'm looking at the pitching, and there's so much good pitching. Like, do I want to pay all the way up? Do I want to go like double mid-range? Because there's some mid-range guys in here that I think we'll like. But also, this is why I've been considering Daniel Lynch. It's like, man, if I can get Lynch and a mid-range guy, like I can really stack up these Dodgers, stack up the Phillies, because I really want to get to Mookie Betts today comfortably and still have room to have more quality pieces in my lineup. Mookie's definitely one of my favorite bats on the day. And I also, if I'm playing Mookie, Stevie, I kind of want to overspend at catcher and play Will Smith. I mean, he's 5,800. It's awful. But if I'm playing Mookie, I want to get him in today. I think it's going to be different enough to where they're so expensive. I don't think people will actually fully stack the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman is 6K. I won't be able to get them all in. I understand that. But this is kind of the Daniel Lynch effect for me. I really like the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I think the three main pieces here for the Dodgers would be Betts, JD, and your boy Will Smith, and then you get some value here with Chris Taylor. I think he's a potential value play. Vargas, I think, is going to be somewhat cheap in this spot as well. Vargas not a huge power guy, but he's a guy that can get on base. He's the guy that I don't mind playing in this spot. But I mean, Taylor has been fantastic against lefties this year. JD Martinez is hitting everything right now. Yeah. But I will say, like, I typically am okay with like playing lefty. Ranger Suarez generates so many ground balls against left-handed hitters. It's really hard for me to get excited about paying like the prices for Freeman and Muncy in this spot. So I think I stick with the righties. Even if Ranger Suarez only goes like 4 or 5 innings here, I think that's enough where I'm still only getting 2 at-bats at these prices on these guys that I might just stay away. And I mean, I like the right-handed power bats in this lineup for sure. Philadelphia's side of this game, Grove continues to struggle with home runs. I think Kyle Schwarber needs to be towards the top of the list today as far as like potential home runs. What are your thoughts on Philadelphia?
Yeah, man, love Philadelphia today. Harper, Schwarber, I'm in, with those guys for sure. Castellanos is still been good. He's 4,900, a little bit cheaper. I don't mind getting him in. Real Muto's 5,100. I'm probably not as enthused about him today, but because this team they're actually fairly expensive now across the board in terms of all the pieces. But Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos, all the main pieces. So if I'm going to play this team, I'm definitely going to spend out at pitching a little bit, and I'll just kind of piece it together from there. I know Marsh has, been playing a little bit, and they're expensive, but I still want to make some pieces up. Maybe I go a little 3-man with Philly versus probably full stack in the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I think Philadelphia is very interesting in this spot just in general because of Grove's like home run struggles. And I mean, he can't get left-handed hitters out. So, I mean, getting the expensive like Schwarber, Harper, and then whether you want to go like Turner, Castellanos, and then you could go cheap with like a Clemens type of play and then like a Marsh type of play and make a little 3-man here. Marsh isn't as cheap as you would kind of hope at 4,100, but I think he's still somewhat cheap enough to play him. So an interesting spot. It's an interesting spot. Grove is a guy that I like to stack against. Assuming the weather's okay, this game has a 9.5 total for a reason. A lot of runs to potentially be scored here today.
Yeah.
All right, Mets and Pirates 9 total in this one. Mets a 120 favorite. We got Miguel against Hill. Any interest here in Tyler McGill?
No.
Another guy, I mean, again, just to continue to say it, I feel like we need to, but this is another slate where we're just looking at a ton of good pitching towards the middle and top, and I don't think like you have to go down to play like a Tyler McGill whose strikeout rate is sitting at like 18% on the season, and he's struggled to both sides of the plate. I just don't think you need to play him today. Rich Hill on the other side of this game, I mean, he's an ace. He goes out and does ace things. Any interest in Rich Hill today?
Well,
Wish I was somewhat joking.
I know, but
he's
I'm
like
not,
the most tilting pitcher in baseball.
I can't do it, Stevie. Like I just know the Rich Hill meltdown will get me if I even consider playing him today. I can't.
Let me ask you, would you consider playing him in 150 lineups if you were MMEing today? Braves Mets. This game is just bonkers.
It's nuts.
It is bonkers.
Stevie, so here's the thing. He's only at around a 20% K rate. I don't think I can. I don't think, and the Mets have been bad. I know they've been gettable. I can't do it, man. I honestly, it's probably mentally for me, even though I can look at whatever on the page, I can't mentally bring myself to roster 75-mile-per-hour curveball Rich Hill. I can't do it.
75 miles or not. Sorry, I'm yawning. I'm very tired. 75 miles or not, his curveball is still above average. It's so wild that he's been able to do it at such a high level for so long with this curveball. If I'm playing 150 teams today, I think Rich Hill would be a guy I'd probably get in about 5%. I don't think it's a crazy high number. It's so crazy how well he can put up these big games and go for 25 plus fantasy points.
I don't understand it. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, his movement is a lot of the reason. Let's be honest. His movement and his vertical movement and stuff like that just continues to be solid. But I feel like everyone in Major League Baseball has seen him by now. But the Mets they're not a great team against. They're not a great team against left-handed pitching. So I don't think you have to go out of your way to target the Mets bats, especially like if Pete Alonso's out of this lineup and doesn't play with this wrist injury. Like it's such a huge bump to Hill and a downgrade to this lineup in general. What are your thoughts on the Mets bats?
I think I want to play the Mets bats, Stevie. Like I'm going to keep targeting Rich Hill, man. I just, gosh, it doesn't make any sense. So I don't hate it. Like Marte's down to 3,900, Kana 3K, fam 229. Like I think they're underpriced too much. I'm wondering if Escobar possibly cracks the lineup. Like he's 3,400. Steve, I really think these guys are too cheap. Like I just think this team is too cheap.
All right. I mean, I hear you. I hate stacking against this guy. Alvarez at 3,500. Pham at 2,900 would be my two favorite plays here. Yeah, Alonso. Chat saying Alonso is not the downgrade to this lineup on Thursday night. Listen, they're not wrong. Okay.
Have they scored 9 or 10 runs? Which is
a
10?
lot. I think it's a 10-10 game now. So Atlanta's up in the bottom of the ninth with a guy on first.
And listen, I'm sure it's going crazy there. I've been at an Atlanta Braves game live last season where they were down to the Miami Marlins in the ninth, and everybody walked out, Stevie, and they rallied and tied the game in the ninth and came. And I mean, the place was electric. So I can only imagine what's going on right now. It looks like Derek said Acuna stole second. Like it's going nuts. It's going nuts there right now. What a great stadium.
It was a wild pitch, but yeah, he's on second.
Okay.
Mets or Pittsburgh bats. Any interest in Pittsburgh against McGill here?
Yeah, I think you just stack him, Stevie. I don't trust McGill in terms of overall. McCutcheon's been really good. Reynolds has been really good. You got Sawinski, who's been fine. Brian Hayes down to 4,100 now. He's been okay. They've got Marcano, who may lead off again. Like I like this team, Stevie. I think it's a good stack.
Marcano continues to be one of my favorite value plays. They're just not pricing him up fast enough. Love this spot for him. He should hit leadoff. He's been hitting leadoff against the righties. Castro's been hitting up towards the top of the lineup. So Marcano, Swazinski, two cheap bats that you can make a little two-man stack and, help kind of fit in what you're building. So yeah, I have a ton of interest in those two guys. I don't mind a 3-man. I don't think I'm 5-man stacking. You got to remember this game's in Pittsburgh.
I know.
So I don't know if I'm full stacking this on a 13-game slate, but I don't mind a 2-man, a 1-off, or a 3-man stack, but not a full stack for me today. All right, we got Minnesota at Toronto, 8.5 total in this game. We got Blue Jays minus 118, very slight favor here. Kikuchi and Gray facing off against each other. Sonny Gray, 9,500, struggling recently. He struggled recently. You know, he's had some tough low strikeout teams. Any interest in Gray going up against Toronto?
He's definitely going to be there in tournaments, Stevie.
Did we lose Will again? I think we lost Will again. He's having his internet is just not feeling his baseball talk tonight. So Sonny Gray is a guy that has strikeout upside to both sides of the plate. He's someone that definitely excels way more against right-handed hitting. His strikeout rate goes up big time. So when you think of this lineup, Bichette, Vlad, Springer, Chapman, typically whoever catches is right-handed. They're not a team that can go very left-handed heavy. So I think that if Sonny Gray is someone that's flying under the radar because he's 9,500 today, I think he's a great tournament play. I think his recent struggles might scare some people off. I'm not worried about it. I think he had some tough strikeout matchups, and I think that this is a team that's going to go very right-handed heavy against him. So don't mind taking some shots on Sonny Gray. Will is back again. Will, your internet is not feeling this podcast tonight.
So it's crazy, man. We had a storm here and it knocked it out yesterday, and I don't know. It's been acting up here recently when I've been live. So hopefully it will correct itself. I mean, most people should be in their bed sleeping right now, Steven. It shouldn't be on the internet affecting my internet. So Spectrum Cable, get it together. Yeah, but I'm with you. I'm probably a little bit less on Gray today just because of what we have available to us. So that's really all it is.
Any interest in Kikuchi on the other side of this game?
Like, Kikuchi is probably the ultimate tournament play on this slate, Stevie, to be honest with you. Like, at 7,100, I feel like Kikuchi has probably the widest range of outcomes that we could possibly see. He could go for 30. He could go for -5. He could go for 15. He could go for 23. He could go for 12. He could go for 27. So to match up with Minnesota, they've been striking out a ton. Kikuchi's K rate hasn't been extremely high this season. It's been around 22%, but the strikeouts will be there today, and the price it's very palatable. So, once again, another guy that I think we can sprinkle in. I think Kikuchi is one of the better tournament plays. You're going to have to take on a lot of risk. But if Minnesota starts swinging out there and the bat's flying around, Kikuchi could very well end up with, 7, 8 strikeouts. We just got to hope he doesn't walk too many guys and give up too many runs.
I think he's playable. He's always playable in tournaments. He's not my favorite play today. Minnesota bats. I mean, one of the reasons that he's playable today is there's not a ton of upside here. I mean, Polanco is someone I would take shots on if he's back in the lineup here. It sounds like the hamstring injury is not serious, but hamstring injuries could be a thing where they start to feel better, then all of a sudden you hurt a lot more the next day. So, I mean, if Polanco's out of the lineup, it's a bump for sure to Kikuchi. Correa is someone that even in his down time in his career right now still can hit left-handed pitching. So don't mind that. But overall, not my favorite team today. And that's one of the reasons why I think you have interest in Kikuchi. Toronto bats, any interest in Toronto?
Yeah, I think Toronto is – I'm not going to try to pick out pieces here and get Sonny Gray. I think if you like Toronto, you stack them and kind of go from there. Basically, you're expecting him to struggle again if you're stacking him, I think.
Houston at Cleveland, 8 total in this game. The Astros are 126 favorite. We got Javier going up against Logan Allen today. Let's talk Christian Javier. He's 10-8. I think this is an excellent spot. I know what happened with Jose Ramirez yesterday. Way different spot, just in general. Will, I like Javier a lot. What are your thoughts on him today?
Yeah, Javier 10-8, definitely on the list. Been sitting around, if I'm not mistaken, Steve, it's amazing how you go through the season and all of a sudden all the numbers, like, you don't hardly have to look at them. You kind of start knowing them. I think Javier's sitting around 29% K rate this season. That's without me looking at anything. And so he's been really good. I don't mind taking him against Cleveland in this spot at Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this lineup, it's rough right now. He's sitting at 26.4%. So low walk rate. His walk rate has definitely improved. I mean, he's having a really strong season. He's had some upside games. He has the ceiling to break the slate, and that's kind of what I'm looking for on a big slate like this. So, I mean, just looking at the Guardians lineup, they don't strike out a ton, but man, there's just no power whatsoever in this lineup outside of Jose Ramirez and Josh Naylor. So, I think if you want to take shots on Javier, I think this is a spot you can do it. Just know that there's always downside to taking against the Cleveland Indians or Guardians. I'm going to say Indians all year. The Guardians, because of like their low strikeouts in general here. Any interest in Logan Allen on the other side of this game?
I think I would consider it at 7,700. He's got a little bit of upside here. I do feel like the Houston offense is improving, even though we might not be seeing 5 to 7 runs a game. Because Houston's not a 12 to 13 run offense. They're really more of a consistent 5 to 7 run offense every day. And that's where I think they come in handy. I do think they're improving, but I still think there are a couple strikeouts in this lineup. I don't mind Allen at 7,700.
Yeah, I don't think he's the craziest option. He's shown that, the strikeout upside is there in matchups this year. He's a guy that definitely strikes out lefties higher than righties. And the only problem with that is Alvarez, Tucker, probably the only 2 lefties that he gets in this lineup here. So low strikeout teams, both of these teams, low strikeout teams. I think both of these pitchers are worth consideration in tournaments. Yordan Alvarez is banged up right now. It was like oblique where he left Thursday's game. So just kind of note that. And just, hey, throwing it out there. Michael Brantley back in the cage, running again. You never know. We might get him back this season at some point. Houston Bats, any interest in the Astros here?
Yeah, I also don't hate the Astros. So, I mean, Yordan, man's been heating up. I know, it's a little banged up. Perhaps we can get him back in there. But Tucker's been hitting well. We've got Bregman, who, while he may not be crushing every game, still low K rate on the season, making good contact to most pitches. At 4,700, I don't hate him. We've got Altuve back in the fold, and I'm sure things will begin to turn around for him at some point. Just got to get in a rhythm. And so I think this team is going to come together. Really like those pieces. We've got Dubon, who's kind of been on a little tear here recently as well at 3,500. I don't hate those guys.
Cleveland Bats, I mean, you could take shots on Jose Ramirez. He hits 3 home runs in games. They're not my favorite team today. I think Christian Javier is a good pitcher. If I was going to play anybody, it'd be Ramirez and Naylor. And I mean, I've been saying that, I feel like, for the same thing for like weeks now.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
All right, rolling along here. We got Washington at Atlanta.
Oh,
hey,
baby.
this team can score. We have a 9.5 total in this game. It's Gray against Smith Schwarber. Schwarber? Schwarber pitching for Atlanta. Any interest here in your boy Josiah Gray?
No.
Hey, that Atlanta team is pretty good, right? So, I mean, all right. So, Smith Schwarber going to make his major league debut here on the 4th. He threw 39 pitches. I mean, this is the number 1 prospect in the Braves organization. This guy is a huge prospect in this organization. I'm shocked that he even pitched out of the bullpen, to be honest. He started the season hurt. Okay. I think he started the season hurt, if I remember correctly. I know he started the season in high A baseball, for what it's worth. I know he started the season in high baseball, but I thought he started the season hurt. He's started everywhere he's pitched. He's pitched in high A, double A, triple A, the relief outing in the majors earlier this week or last week against Arizona. What are we thinking here, Will? Washington's not a huge strikeout team, but I mean, for a kid making his debut, I mean, I think if you're a 20-year-old kid and you're looking at this Washington lineup, you're kind of like, all right, this is a spot I could definitely go out and throw a really good game.
Yeah, so my read on AJ, and I will be, just so you guys know, I didn't have a chance to watch any film on him before the show. You probably say, Chief, film, it's fantasy. Why do you film? Well, when it's new pitches, I just like to see command, control, like kind of their routine, how they like to go through their progressions in terms of their stuff. You know, Stevie, you know what I'm talking about. So I do like to just kind of watch a little bit and see, you know, how is he going to handle the jam. So I will look at that between tonight and tomorrow and some of his minor league stuff. But what I will say is, I'm with you. I think this is a great spot at 6,500. So what we saw against Arizona, Stevie, who's also a very low strikeout team, was 2 1/3 and 3 Ks. And I definitely respect the Arizona offense more than the Washington offense. There are a few strikeouts in this Washington offense, especially at the top. I think Lane is around 28% or something like that. So I think there will be strikeouts to be had. I think he does have an advantage. They haven't seen him before. And so I think, if he's able to, pitch a good game in terms of game script with his catcher, and make sure the calls are good, I think he can pitch around his team and do really well. So at 6,500, I will have some shares.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely didn't watch tape on this guy, but I read a lot about him. Last year was the first year like fully focused on baseball. Quarterback, big arm quarterback, and like 2022 was the first year like legitly just focused on baseball. He pitched in single A ball, 68 innings, 103 strikeouts, 34% strikeout rate. Obviously was really good home run wise, huge strikeout stuff. I mean, we don't have a ton of sample size on this kid, but I mean, huge prospect, big arm.
Yeah. And I get it too, Steve. They're like, look, we're struggling. And struggling, I know, is relative.
They got some injuries.
Yeah, but we got injuries. It's like, hey, you know what? Let's bring him up. Let's give him an opportunity. Let's see what we got. It's kind of like Strider. And if for some reason this kid can manage the emotions of pitching in the majors tomorrow against a fairly low strikeout team, we might be on to something. I've been saying it, for years. Like, man, if we could just get our pitching together, this team is really going to take off. So I'm excited. This is when I'm going to be in front of the TV for sure.
To be fair, like really quick, Atlanta's team is run perfectly. I mean, in terms of how the team is run, GM-wise, everything. I don't know if I'd say perfect. I don't think anything's perfect.
It's run well.
But it's run very well. I would put Atlanta in the top 3 of like teams running in Major League Baseball. Maybe even like, just
best players are on really good contracts, and then we went out and got Matt
They've
Olson.
done a fantastic job to win for years, not just this year or last year, year before. They've done a fantastic job to win for years. I have interest in him. He's one of the reasons that, like, we were talking about some of the guys in this range. I'm like, no, he's the cheap pitcher that I think I'd take some shots on today. I don't really want to play Washington. I think that if you're like me and you're going to be playing some of him today, you maybe build a hedge stack. But I think that this team's just not great. They're low walk rate team too. So they're a team that, if you're, like I said, if you're this young kid and you're like, all right, I'm going to get the start here. You see this, you see the numbers. They look at these numbers, man. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm excited for this one. I would be. So any interest in the Washington bets?
No.
All right. Didn't even get a drink in. You said it so fast. Talk to me about Atlanta while I take a drink here.
Take your drink. Let's talk about the Braves. Josiah Gray, K rate has come down this season. It's around 19% on the season, if I am not mistaken. Just not really getting the strikeouts this year outside of a couple games. And while the Braves do strike out power up and down this lineup, making good contact, we've got Acuna. Azuna is still 3,200. Rosario, 3,100. Harris at the bottom of the order, still 3K. Austin Riley has been coming back around to playing nice bat on the ball baseball, just getting hits. Fees 4,800. Albies has been on fire here. He's hit a couple home runs here recently at 4,400. Olsen obviously has been playing well most of this season. Then you got Murphy, who, if I'm not mistaken, has also hit a home run here recently this week. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. So I just think overall, Stevie, this team, I think they're set up for success here. I feel like there might be a little bit of electricity in the stadium. Got one of our better younger pitchers coming up, and hopefully these guys can have the emotions and the will to win, focus, and be really disciplined at the plate. Bat on ball. Let's drive in some runs. This is a great spot for this team.
I think Harris has been hitting well too.
Yeah.
But Josiah Gray, you remember at the beginning of the season, we're like, oh man, did Josiah Gray like figure it out? And like you said, he's back under a 20% strikeout rate now. He's back to being Josiah Gray. So
yeah.
I have a ton of interest in Atlanta. I think they're one of the top stacks on the entire slate. So right there with you today. Kick off the new year with new gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium Polaroid shades, customizable snow goggles, and much more. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. With Shady Rays, you can look good and feel good. To date, they have donated over 20 million meals to fight hunger with Feeding America. If you don't love them, exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. Their team always has your back. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the new year. Go to shadyrays.com. Use code RotoGrinders for 50% off of 2 or more pairs of Polaroid sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. Up next, we got Oakland at Milwaukee. 9.5 total in this game. The Brewers a 235 favorite. Medina against Hauser. It sounds like it's going to be like this opener situation again for Oakland, but I don't think it matters, right? Between Mole and Medina, I don't think we're playing Oakland pitching today.
Negative. No Oakland pitching.
Albies hit a 3-run homer to walk off the game. So
yes, sir.
Atlanta, I mean, they're just going to keep it rolling right into. And dude, the hockey game. I don't know if you guys have been watching the hockey game, Stanley Cup playoffs, but Panthers just scored it with 2 minutes to go in the third period to tie the game up. Gosh, love hockey. Anyway, that like all happened like within that ad read.
Read it again.
Yeah, right.
More exciting sports.
Adrian Hauser, 6K, going up against Oakland. 3 good starts in his last 4 outings. Any interest here in Hauser?
Listen, I think he's playable, Stevie. What I would be looking for from Hauser in this spot is get through 6 innings, right? But also, please get us at least 4 strikeouts because he doesn't strike a lot of guys out. So that's kind of the dilemma here. I think I want to play him because it's Oakland. Oakland did hit well on the East Coast here recently, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they were just every day in Pittsburgh. It felt like they were scoring 20 runs. It wasn't that many, but they really piled on the runs. I think if I play House, it's a few shares. I don't think he's better than Kikuchi. I don't think he's better than AJ. I don't think he's better than Lynch because of the strikeout stuff. And that's kind of where I am. It's like he's 6K. You can play him. I think you get a couple shares because it's Oakland. But the strikeout stuff leaves a lot to be desired.
The strikeouts definitely help a little bit because it's the Oakland lineup, but I'm with you. I feel like he's not a guy you're like going, all right, he's facing Oakland. They're a 25% K rate team. He's going to go on and dominate this game. I think that you're just hoping for like 6 clean innings, 4 or 5 strikeouts. You're honestly hoping at this price for 18 plus points, and you would be extremely happy with that. So I think that's kind of what you'd be looking for here if you're taking shots on Adrian Hauser at 6K. He's cheap. I want to see the ownership too. I think the ownership will matter in this game, or just in general here because of the slate. Oakland bats. Well, I'll say this, right? I'm not a guy that will play a lot of Oakland bats from time to time, but they are dirt cheap on this slate. Ruiz, a guy that can steal bases, definitely don't have any issues playing him. Brown, Nada. I mean, these guys are all just so cheap. So if you're looking for that like garbage bin stack of the day, I think it would be Oakland today.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. Like, that's kind of the interesting dilemma. It's like, Hauser should essentially have one of the best games of the season today, and also Oakland could still light him up. Like, that's where we are. So I'm with you. I don't mind the vomit Oakland stacks, and I think if you're doing that, if you're playing Oakland, you probably need to be getting in two of the high quality pitchers, in my opinion.
Don't you just love baseball season? I mean,
yes.
Oh, it's like the ultimate. It could go either way sport. The variance is so massively high here. Milwaukee bats. I mean, first of all, it'd be interesting because they're going to open with a lefty and then they're going to come in with this righty that can't get anybody out. Adames is back in the lineup. Have a ton of interest in him here at 3,800 or 4,200. Contreras, Miller, Tellis. I mean, I think it'd be more of like a secondary stack, but I feel like we continue to talk about it and how bad Oakland just is pitching. They're just such a bad, rotation. They're such a bad bullpen. It's like I keep saying it's a historically bad bullpen. And it's just wild.
Yeah, they've been terrible. And so, when it comes to Milwaukee, I think one of the things that, folks have been talking about and they've been taking notice, Christian Yelich has been playing better. And so that's going to help this lineup a lot. I mean, all the money they're paying him, man. So I like this spot for him. I don't hate it for Adames. I don't hate it for Miller, who's been leading off. I think they've got enough cheap pieces here. Rowdy Tellez, 4,600. Like I think this team as a whole is in a good spot today. So I really like this offense a lot.
Yeah, Yelich is never a bad hitter. His back is the biggest problem with him. All right, we got Miami at Chicago taking on the White Sox. 8.5 total in this game. White Sox a 140 favorite. Perez, Cease facing off against each other. Any interest here in Yuri Perez going up against the White Sox?
I don't mind it, Stevie. He's been fairly good to be a young pitcher coming up. Strikeout stuff has over the past couple games has tailed off some. Versus the 6 and 7, he's been in that 4 to 5 range. But I still think this is an okay spot against the White Sox at 8,900. I don't mind it. I wish he was up in the 90s in terms of pitch count, more around 95, 96ish. If he's on, he'll get the strikeouts. I don't think he's the best play today, but he's also not the worst.
Yeah, this guy is one of the biggest prospects in all baseball coming into the season. Second or third overall prospect in baseball. He has big stuff, big fastball, great changeup, great slider. This is a pitcher. I think he's like 20 years old, 21 years old. Don't hold me accountable to it. I think he's 20. That we're going to be talking about for a long time. Like, this guy has big stuff. So yeah, I have interest. I'm going to have interest anytime he's on the hill because he has big stuff. He can have big games because of the stuff that he has. So, the White Sox, they're 27th in WRC plus this season against right-handed pitching. They strike out 22.5% of the time. The lineup that they've been rolling out against right-handed pitching is around a 27% strikeout rate against righties. The strikeout upside alone, I have interest. If this game was in Miami, it'd probably be my highest owned pitcher on the slate. So, ton of interest in Perez today. Dylan Cease on the other side of this game, a ton of interest in Dylan Cease. He's not been great this year. Miami's not a good offense. This is a great get right spot. The only issue that I have with Dylan Cease is he's coming off of 2 matchups against the Detroit Tigers, and he has just not looked good. He just hasn't looked good. I feel like since like the first or second game of the season. I don't know what's going on. I've looked into his stats. I can't find anything that's like jumping off to me. Maybe I'm missing something. I never am afraid to admit when I'm missing something, but I just don't see what's going on here with Dylan Cease right now.
Yeah, K rates really come down. I think you can play him at 9,200. I don't think he's the worst play on the board. And so I guess now if you ask me, if I got to choose between Perez and Cease, I'm probably going Perez. I think I'm playing Cease because I know he has some stuff and something is off. I'm not sure if he's tipping pitches. I don't know, but something's off for sure because the K rate, I mean, it's come down, a significant amount in my opinion. So I don't hate it against Miami. There are definitely strikeouts there. If he doesn't give up the runs and he can keep the pitch count under control for the first 4 innings, then he's probably a great play. The problem is I don't know if he's going to be a great play because there are 2 or 3 bats that are going to give him serious problems. He's going to have to earn an out with at least 3 bats with Gurriel, Gene Segura, and Arias. Like he's going to have to earn those outs, and so that's where I think they're going to get him in some trouble because those guys are going to make him work, and he will run the pitch count up with lack of control and not being able to get you out. So he's in my pool, but he's not at the top of my pool.
I don't have any interest in the Miami Bats. Is there anything jumping off the page to you here?
Negative. I'm not playing either one of these offenses, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't like bats in this game overall.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's nothing jumping off the page to me here today.
Yep.
All right. Cincinnati at St. Louis, 8.5 total in this game. Cardinals a 180 favorite. Lively against Montgomery. Any interest here in Ben Lively?
No.
He has been lively. He's been pitching really solid.
Cincinnati is letting all their pitchers go deep right now, like all of them. Ashcraft got hurt today. Like he took a line drive. That's basically what kept him out. But all these pitchers, I mean, they're giving him the leash, so that's a benefit. I just don't want to take him against St. Louis.
Hey, listen, the Cardinals have been an offense that has been struggling mightily lately.
Yeah, on the struggle bus for sure.
If he's a low-owned guy, I think you can take shots on him. Just put up 25 fantasy points against this team a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. I mean, he's a good pitcher from what we've seen so far. I mean, we haven't seen a lot yet, but we've seen enough. Big strikeout rate against righties, limits the walks to both sides, does a great job limiting ISO power to right-handed hitters. So, I mean, generating ground balls, not giving up fly balls. I mean, this is a type of guy, if you were to just take away the name and look at the stats, you would have interest. So I think that if you wanted to take some shots on Ben Lively, I mean, potentially low ownership, like the Reds, letting their guys pitch
deep.
Like it. Jordan Montgomery on the other side of this game, this guy has been struggling. He is on the struggle bus. What are your thoughts here on Jordan Montgomery?
Nope, not playing Montgomery.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah. And Lively's more of a St. Louis issue. Like, at some point, St. Louis has got to turn this around. Like, they can't keep continuing to be this bad. So that's really what it is.
You never know. They might. Listen, I'm messing. We have a lot of, I don't know why, but we have a lot of the St. Louis people that hang out on YouTube chat for the shows. And I don't know. I know Derek's there. But yeah, I always pick on St. Louis just because. Listen, I can pick on anybody. The Red Sox stink this year. I don't care. I own my team. I'm wearing Magic gear right now. I own my teams. But yeah, I mean, Cincinnati Bats, Ellie De La Cruz. Super excited that he got called up. Been talking about it here. I feel like a lot. Jake Fraley banged up right now. It doesn't matter. Lefty-lefty matchup. So I don't know if he'll be in there either way. McLean, potentially one of the biggest pivots on the slate is playing McLean over De La Cruz. Because McLean has been hitting left-handed pitching really well. He's more expensive. No one is playing McLean over De La Cruz today. So I think that is something you could take some shots on. And then Spencer Steer, hate that you got to use him at first base, but I mean, this guy has been hitting the ball really well against left-handed pitching this season. So probably more of a mini stack for me, but I definitely have some interest here against Montgomery, who's been struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a stack spot. And look, prior to De La Cruz showing up, McLean was scorching. So I mean, I'm with you, Stevie. Like, I don't mind, running McLean in the flat. If you guys are using our handy dandy lineup HQ, you can set it up and just kind of flip those guys in and out of those stacks and really get a chance to get some upside here. So I love this team as a whole. Definitely want to stack the whole Cincinnati offense against Montgomery.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do when Votto comes back, because you have to think Votto or Steer will DH and what they'll do with Matt McLean. So you can on FanDuel, you can play both of them together without using the utility spot. Great note there, but on DraftKings you got to pick. I wish the problem is when Matt McLean does play the field, he plays shortstop. De La Cruz plays third base sometimes. So I think potentially what happens when Votto comes back, we see Steer DH or Votto DH, and then Newman gets the he gets the All right. St. Louis bats. Any interest in the Cardinals here?
I would be one off in St. Louis. I still think this team could get there. Ghostman still hit for a lot of power. Arenado hit for power. Gorman's still been hit for power. So I like one offs from St. Louis.
Do you know the last time St. Louis scored 6 runs or more in a game?
Today is June 8th. I would say May 12th.
May 23rd.
Haha.
They have not been good lately. At these prices, I'm not playing the Cardinals. I really dude, I hope I open up Plate IQ and we see Lively at 4% projected ownership. I will be so excited for that.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk cores. We have San Diego in Colorado facing the Rockies. One of the biggest ballpark upgrades you can get if you're San Diego, going from Petco. Is it still called Petco? I don't even know what it's called anymore.
I think it's called something else now, but I mean, I don't know what it is, so I still call it Petco. It might still be Petco.
Padres ballpark.
Speaking
Petco.
of that,
it's still Petco.
Still Petco. Good. Sean Walter says John Gray dominated St. Louis, and he did. Gosh, man.
He still lost that game. It was one of the best pitching performances that I've seen all year, and he still lost that game. But I played John Gray that day. All right, 11.5 total. Padres a 180 favorite. Darvish and Gomber. Will, if I think this is a 7-game slate, I have interest in Darvish. If we didn't have all this pitching, I think I'd have interest in Darvish. The Rockies not a great offense. Core is going to scare people off. It's just he finally looked good last time out, but he has been struggling big time. I don't think I can play Darvish today just because of the pitching that we have.
Yeah, I don't mind. This is the one spot when guys go to Coors I don't mind. At 8K, I think I'd get a couple shares, but I'm not going all in. Yep,
I assume you're not playing Gomber.
Negative. Nah. Nope.
Yeah, we're not playing Gomber today. All right, well, let's what are your thoughts? I know you don't love playing cores, but looking at the numbers though, Austin Gomber is a guy that I think you have to stack against. His ISO is massive, his WOBA's massive. He has a low strikeout rate, especially against righties. Gives up 48% hard contact. This is the dude you stack against anytime he's on the hill. Now he's in cores against a team that gets a huge ballpark upgrade. I think San Diego's the top stack today. I hear you, and I hear what you're about to say, but looking at the numbers for Gomber, it's really hard for me not to have interest in San Diego today.
No, I get it, and you know me, Stevie. I always understand it. It's just it's kind of my thing. I'm committed to it. I'm committed. I'm pod committed, and I'm real life committed. Especially on a slate like today, when we have so many games, I'm for sure going to fade Coors, because if everybody's flocking to Coors today, which Coors probably won't get as much ownership today as it would on an 8-game slate, for instance. And typically the reason why I'm fading Coors is the pricing. However, there are a lot of teams that the prices are up there with Coors today. You got Tatis at 64, Soto at 61, which Bogarts has been out of the lineup. You got Cronenworth at 4,800. I'm with you, San Diego. You need to stack San Diego. You guys just know personally, I won't have any shares of Coors bats today.
Brian Jackson says, just left the Braves game. Big Will. Man, it was wild.
Jax, yeah, man. Hey, you know.
Will is very jealous you were at that game, and he's sitting here doing the podcast with me. Rockies bats against Darvish. They're going to be low owned. Any interest in the Rockies bats here?
No. And that's less about Coors and more about their offense, for what it's worth.
Sorry, I was sending a tweet that made me laugh. I made myself laugh as I was sending the tweet. All right, Seattle at LA, taking on the Angels. 7.5 total in this game. Angels are 130 favorite. Castillo and Ohtani facing off against each other. Pitchers duel. We have two really good pitching games to finish it out. Let's talk Castillo against the Angels. This is a guy that kind of went through a rough patch, but I mean, the matchups have been good lately, but man, he's been pitching really good. Talk to me here about Castillo.
Listen, man, this, I hope it kind of materializes, Stevie. I love offense, but I still like old school, just good pitching duels. And this is probably about as close as we've got to that today. So I'm in on Castillo, man. 9,800. The strikeouts have still been there, still well above 20%, close to 30% this season. Not quite there. Pretty much automatic at 6 strikeouts or more a game. And he hasn't been getting blown up. I remember he was in Cincinnati and he would just have these wild, erratic games. He's really rounded out, Steve, into what I think is a really good major league pitcher. And so I love Castillo here. I think, he's going to be able to do what he needs to do. The pitch count has been up. He hasn't gotten hurt. I think Castillo's been great this season, Stevie. And for the past kind of 2 seasons, really. So I really like him at 9,800. I think this is a steal. Castillo could easily be at 10-5 in this game, and he's not. So I like him a ton.
Yeah, I think he's a great tournament play. I think both pitchers in this game, great tournament plays. I will say it'd be interesting to see what the Angels lineup looks like today, just in general. But Ohtani, I mean, he's a guy that's capable of big strikeout games. The Seattle team is capable of big strikeout games as well. An offense that started top 10 in the league and then has really slowly progressed. And I think they're 18th overall right now. They're striking out at a second highest strikeout rate in baseball this season against right-handed pitching at 25.7%. I think Ohtani, another guy that's top of the list as far as pitching today. You have to unmute yourself. Your internet's been bad. You've been mute. You got your mute in. You got your internet bad. You've checked. If you're playing bingo on the podcast tonight, Will is filling up your scorecard.
Yeah. So I'll tell you guys I muted myself because my fiance came in. It was a little hot in the office, so I shot her a text message. I'm like, "Hey, please come turn on the ceiling fan. It's like a sauna." Well, I didn't say sauna. I just said it's super hot in here, and so I was letting her know. I text her, "Thank you," in capital letters, because it felt like a greenhouse in here. It really did. Chief was baking like a turkey. Listen, man, I do think at the top of the list today in terms of matchup and skills, I think it's Ohtani at 10-4. But I also think Ohtani's going to get the ownership for such a big slate. If Ohtani's anywhere near 30% on this slate, to me, that's going to be too high. There's tons of pitching, and I think he's going to be up there because of this matchup with the high strikeout Seattle offense. And so, once again, I love Ohtani. I want to play Ohtani, but if his ownership is out of whack, I'm going to be okay not playing him, and I'll live with the results.
Yeah, man, I hear that. I don't think anything that you said is wrong. Let's talk bats. Seattle. I mean, I don't think this is a game we're going to play bats. We have such a good 13 game slate. I mean, what are you really wanting to play? Game. Yeah, Trout and Rodriguez. Sure. I mean, no one's going to say no to playing those two guys, but you can't play Ohtani because he's pitching. So, I mean, overall, I don't love bats in this game.
Yeah, same here.
All right, we got Cubs and Giants. 7 total. Lowest total on the slate. 7 total. Stroman and DeSclafani facing off against each other. The Giants a slight 118 favorites. Pretty much pick them. Stroman, he's been another guy that's kind of like found his groove here. Are we seeing pitchers that maybe have been potentially struggling a little bit with the pitch clock start to find their grooves? Like, are we now going to see like this like transformation into like guys that maybe were struggling early and they're really starting to hit their stride now? We see this in baseball generally anyway. Pitchers start to get going in the summer. I mean, Stroman, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I like Stroman. Stroman's a guy I've been kind of let's say sprinkling in a little bit more and more. And look, man, I always like him because he's a ground ball guy, right? Typically, he's going to be sinker, cutter, getting guys out with the ability to pick up some strikeouts. Not a high strikeout guy, but past 2 games, you've seen it, Tampa Bay, San Diego, 8K, 6K, and he gets a fairly high strikeout team in San Francisco coming back from Coors, but also they have a lot of power. But I think this particular spot for Stroman is great. He should be able to keep the ball on the ground enough in San Francisco. As long as BABIP is on his side, I think he'll pick up enough Ks, and I think he can limit the damage. I really like Stroman today at 8,700.
I think both these guys are very playable today. DeSclafani on the other side of this game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. DeSclafani's not my favorite option in this range today, but I think he's playable. There's strikeouts in this lineup. We know, like, Bellinger's getting close. I don't think he'll be back for this series. I think he'll be back for the first, like, Chicago series, too. Good ballpark for pitchers. And what are your thoughts on DeSclafani here?
Yeah, I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. He goes in the pool for what it's worth. At 7,400, I think DeSclafani is a great play today. Or a good play.
Good play. Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's a good play. I think he's someone that could potentially go low owned and that we might end up on tournaments just because he's low owned more than anything else. So, all right, Will, talk to me here. Cubs bats, any interest?
No, and really both of these offenses, I think both of these pitchers should have good days on the mound. They should be able to limit the damage and keep the runs down. So I'm going to be out on both of these offenses.
Yeah, I could definitely see playing some power here. Morel, someone that has really been struggling, started so extremely hot and has been struggling. Overall, I'm with you. I think that I don't have a ton of interest in the bats in this game. Could be Travis came in and he said he's here for his first ever live Chief Justice no. And I think he just got it. I think this is a good old fashioned no spot for the bats today.
Yep, no.
All right, let's talk some morning grind game. Finish it out. Send you guys to the weekend. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts today. Who do you got?
I mean, we got plenty of options, Stevie.
There are a handful today.
It's live. And so I think I'm going to go with someone that I think should be able to get there today. Really high strikeout offense. I'm going to go with Kikuchi. Like, he's at 7,100. I think he can get the case.
I'm going Ben Lively.
Yeah.
Over 8K to score under 15. Who is your bust today?
This one is actually fairly tough for me, but I think it's between 2 9K guys. I'm going to side with Sonny Gray going to Toronto, but I'm not thrilled. But I do think they could get to him.
I'm not going to take Darvish. He would probably be my pick, but give me Dylan Cease. He's been struggling.
He was my next guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the walks have just been a huge issue for him right now. And the command, he's struggling right now. I want to see him pitch well. I think he's a good dude. Over 4K to hit a home run. Who's going yard today? Not in course.
Man, I'm giving you a 2 for today. So this is one of my favorite plays on the day, and that is Mookie Betts. Really like Mookie Betts today. My next play is basically a guy, anytime a lefty's on the mound, he's like my one-off du jour, and that's Ryan Mountcastle at 4,500.
Florida officially has won their first ever game in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
So they got it in OT.
They did. They just won.
Okay.
Completely throwing me off. crowd is going bonkers, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm not a Florida fan. I'm a Lightning fan for anybody that's curious, but I think playoff Stanley Cup playoff hockey is just freaking everybody should be watching it. With that said, back on track here. Give me Matt Olson for a home run against Josiah Gray today. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bet that you like today?
I'm going to stay in this game. Give me Austin Hayes at 3,700.
I'm going to take Cano, sorry. Ton of interest in him today. He just continues to be too cheap. He's been fantastic. So, yeah, I like that a lot. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who's getting it done today?
Cincinnati Reds.
I like that call. There's a lot of chalk that you could man, that shot was so good. Like, so good. Like, I agree, Michael Townsend. Great shot. Sorry, I'm getting so distracted right now. Give me Philadelphia. Grove has a home run issue. This game's in Philly. Give me Philadelphia to score 6 or more runs today.
Got it.
All right, take your pick 'em is Monday through Friday, 10:30 Eastern AM. You can check out Will talking fantasy pick 'em plays over there on Grinders Live. Make sure you're checking that out. Support our boy. You don't get no's on that show. You come here for the no's. You get all the good plays. Will, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, man, I am good, Stevie. This has been a fun show, and thanks for having me. As usual, I know we've been doing our song and dance for a few years now, but I don't ever take it lightly that I'm able to come on and talk to these fine folks and try to give them some analysis for the next day. So thanks so much. Thanks so much.
Yeah, always appreciate hanging out with you, man. Truex for the win in Sonoma, Derek says. I will take the no on that. This was by far Toyota's worst track last year, so I'll take the no on that. We do have Sonoma this weekend, coming off of another scorching weekend in NASCAR, man. It's just this season, for some reason, I'm on it, and I'm very excited about it, and, I mean, we're just rolling in it. So,
yeah,
Sonoma this weekend. If I had to pick a winner right now, I would pick Daniel Suarez. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. We'll be back on Monday talking more baseball. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you then.